Hi, my name is Dania Paredes. I'm going to talk about an essay on Araby by Joyce. This story is about a young boy who is falling in love with her friend's sister and he promised to bring something from Araby. There are some moments in this story, like romanticism. It is when you have deep for emotional or attraction for one person. The boy describes what is to be in love for a special person, especially in the adolescent. He thinks only about the girl and forget the other. He romanticizes his love, but doesn't sentimentalize the feeling. I think it's because he doesn't have hope. Also, it's very in frustration. It is something that causes feeling of anger and annoyance. The young boy showed frustration when his uncle forgot to give money to buy the gift for her. Failure is lack of success. Is when the boy doesn't doesn't show the feeling to the girl and don't this doesn't describe how the love finishes or if if he see the girl again. I think this love doesn't have success. And okay, Arabic show mystery that is kept secret and remain unexplained or unknown. The boy start describing the house where he lived, that is in the darkness. Also, he described her love with nervous and confused. He doesn't share what happened to this love. And Arabic show that you can lose in love, but by losing you can win. He lost in love and get experience and maturity in his life. I don't agree with by Jen Joyce because the person needs to show their feelings and the boy is suffering a lot of with his obsession and he feel a lot of bitter moments. Thanks.
Thank you. The next person, please.
It's me, right? Well, hi, my name is Hilda, and I'm going to speak about Araby by James Joyce. Araby is a short story written by James Joyce, and it's about when it is and it's about what can happen when you fall in love at a young age. This story is about a young boy who falls in love for the first time with his friend's sister. They happen that happens to be his next door neighbor. In this short story, we saw that this boy felt really shy and a little nervous trying to approach this girl, but he did. And when he talked to her for the first time, really nervously, he asked her to go out to a date to the bazaar. When the girl declines the invitation, and then he didn't mind. He promised her he will buy her something anyway. Later on, when the date to go to the bazaar arrived, he was waiting for his uncle to give him money because he doesn't want it. So he started to feel a little desperation because it was already late and his uncle haven't arrived yet. So then his uncle arrived, he got the money, so he went to the bazaar really late. And when he got there, he realized that he was he was in love with the idea of this girl, that she might never like be his partner, and that he create all of the in his head. So he felt like he felt guilt and darkness and sadness because he realized that even though he was in love with her, they would never be together. So the approach that James Joyce did here is to show us how what can happen when you fall in love in a young age, how it can make you, how can affect you in ways you never thought it will. And I agree with him in that point because I myself have gone through that, especially when you are young and you fall in love for the first time. You go through all these emotions and you create this idea of the perfect couple that might not be real. So, in conclusion, this story shows a lot of desperation, sadness, love, ideal, ideal, ideas, and a lot of different points. Thank you.
Thank you, Ilva. So Jennifer, you go next.
Hello, my name is Jennifer, and I talk about my essay about Araby by James Joyce. And in this story, the author wants to show us how you can fall in love with someone and how this affect you emotionally, principally when you are young. So this story is about a young boy who is in love with a girl. She is his friend's brother sister, and he's trying to dare her, but she can't. So he tell her to bring her a gift from a bazaar named Araby. While the day was were while the day was were during the week, his obsession and anxiety was is growing up and making bigger. So when the day arrives, finally, he's more Asian than he was first. So he said to his uncle to give the money, and his uncle arrived late than he was supposed. When he arrived to the bazaar, it was already closing down, and he can't buy the gift for the girl, and he feels frustrated and sit down in the street in the darkness. So in the conclusion, the author has the idea that when you are obsessed with someone, is not in love, it's not the same. So the author, what I agree with the author, because being in love with someone is more than make how do you say that sacrifice. And the young boy made more than he was in his hand. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. So Mildred, you go next.
Hello, girls. My name is Mildred Esther Quevedo, and now I'm going to talk about the essay on Araby, written by James Joyce. This short story is about the elusive adolescent love. A young boy falls in love with his friend's sister, and in this story are developed many topics like obsession, like sorrows, and um, and the innocence of the first love. These feelings are presented through the feelings of this young boy towards the girl. And falling in love, being a teenager, is a complicated thing. This is presented in the story through the obsessive feelings of this young boy towards the girl, as he always is thinking about her, but he never express his feelings for her. He never expressed his feelings to her. And the innocence of the first love is also presented in the story, as he's also thinking about her even in the most remote places, and she is always in his mind. Also, the suffering, as he, you know, where is love, always there is pain and sorrows. So he suffers for her, as he never talks to her about his feelings. He also suffers when he goes to the bazaar and finds everything closed. So he is kind of frustrated because of that, and all of that things, those things show us his suffering. And in conclusion, the author wants to show us the intensive feelings that are presented in the adolescent. And I agree with the author, because are intense feelings that are just part of infatuation or are unreal things. This is all.
Thank you, Mildred. Hello, girls. My name is Pamela Pina. I'm going to talk about my essay on Araby by James Joyce. Araby is a short story of a young boy who falls in love of his friend's sister. He develops strong feelings for her, but he's unable to share the feelings due to his shyness. He expressed, well, once they finally get together to talk, they talk about the bazaar. The girl asks him if he will go to the bazaar, but because she's unable to attend due to a meeting, the boy promised her to bring her something, even though she's unable to go. Then he goes to his aunt's house. Apparently, he didn't have family members beside his aunt and uncle. So he start feeling anxious because he needs the money to go to the bazaar, and he needs to wait for everyone at home to go to sleep, and he start developing anxiety at that moment because he feels the need of going to the bazaar to demonstrate his love to this girl. Once he finally received the money, he arrives late to the bazaar. He feels angry because his aunt was not able to provide him with the money, and he had to wait for everyone to go to sleep. And the train, he also took a train, and it took a long time for him to arrive there. So when he finally arrived, everything was closed. He started feeling angry with his aunt because otherwise, if he will receive the money on time, perhaps he thought he will be able to get her something. He felt sad, frustrated with his aunt. He realized that real world is not what he expected to be. He thought, or he had the idea, that by buying her a present, he will be able to get her love. He was always thinking about her. He was always thinking of the idea at that moment when he saw that the stores were closed. The ideas of her were going through his mind. He started thinking like, oh, I will not be able to win her love, all those nights thinking about her, thinking that I'll be able to win her love, all the possibilities were already gone. And what the author wants to show us with this story is that when we are young, we create our own ideas of what love really is. And we don't realize that in real love, things are totally different. I do agree with the author because we were all young. If we are here right now, it's because we were all young and we all went through the same feelings that we were not able to describe or tell the person we liked that we really have feelings for them. So in conclusion, this was a fascinating story and I do agree with James Joyce and I suggest everyone to read it. So right now, Angela, it's your turn. We are live. Angela at this time is working, so we are waiting for her to be available, and we might give her some time until she realizes that it's her turn to be on this video.
Hello, girls. My name is Angela Daibelis Mejia Peña, and I'm going to talk about the essay Araby writing by James Joyce. Okay, the essay is about a young boy that falls in love with the girls that live across the street. He have an idea about her, but he didn't catch the details that the girl give him. And one day she decides to go to the bazaar. The name is Araby, but she didn't have time to go to the bazaar. And he decided to go to the bazaar for her and buy something for her. And she get a lot of troubles to go to the bazaar because his uncles forgot him to leave the money. And when he arrived to the bazaar, he came late and can't buy anything for her. He felt sadness and about that because can buy something for her. And the author give us an example that when we are young, we have a notion about the love that always is irreal. And I agree with the author because he gives us some option that we can do right to get to feel in love and get the real option when we are young. That is my point of view about the essay writing by Jane Joyce. Thank you.
Thank you.